welcome again to Cooking with Dorrel, presented by Eden's Hope Ministries. I'm grateful that you're here. Thank you for coming to my channel. Please remember to like, subscribe, and share my video. I really appreciate it. So today I'm going to do another old recipe. I'm calling it the Jamaican recipe because I'm Jamaican. It's fried dumplings, but I'm adding in some nutrients into it. I grew up just having the flour, the salt, and the water. So that's just glue. There's no nutrients in there. So I'm going to show you how I'm going to add in. We're also going to have some greens. You can use kale or collard greens, any greens. Then I'm going to add in some nutrients to that. That's going to go with our fried dumplings. So first, I'm going to start with the dumplings. I like to put on my gloves when I'm doing dumplings because I just don't like all that flour getting in my nails and have to wash it so much. So putting on my gloves for that. So in my bowl here, I have 1 cup of flour that I sifted to give it some air. I have a pinch of salt. I use the Himalayan salt, and I have a little bit of butter. Now this is the added nutrients. This is split peas. You can use green split pea, yellow split pea, any split pea you want. I soak it, and then I added it in the blender and blended it with cold water. So it's cold water to this because you want that butter to remain cold. Don't pour it all at once. So I'm gonna mix that butter in. And a little bit at a time. And you can multiply this recipe to the size of your family. This is just to show you what can be done. So see, I didn't need a lot of that. In my household, we do a lot of fried dumplings, so this will be used up again. So that's that. I should have had turn on my stove. Okay, it's nice, and you don't want it stiff and you don't want it too soft. So this is the consistency. Okay, and I'm going to get started with the greens. In here, I've already caramelized some garlic, onions, and red peppers, and some tomatoes. So to this, while that's going, I'm going to be adding in the greens first. Now this is kale. I've used kale this time. Let that rest for a little bit. And I'm going to add the kale in and let it cook down first. Then I'll add in the carrots for the color, and then I'll add in the tofu. On the tofu, I've sprinkled some adobo. You decide what seasoning you like. Sprinkle a little bit on there. So, put this in. I like this big pot to spread it out. So you like julienne it, cut it up nice and fine. I bought organic kale, but even though it says organic, I soaked it in some baking soda. So in case still there's some pesticide on it, the baking soda will neutralize that. That helps. It doesn't hurt. So I'm gonna let this go for a while my oil is getting hot. And I'm going to cover it up. Let that go for a little bit. Okay, so I'm gonna pinch off pieces. You decide how big you want your dumplings to be or how small you want them to be. So in here, I'm gonna be getting 7 out of it. So this is a technique that I don't know how to teach it, but I'm turning it in my hand and using my pointer finger to just make a circle with it. Okay, it's an art to do, so you just have to practice it. Some people roll it like that. that's not the way I was taught, and I can't do that. So this is how my grandmother taught me how to do it. So this is the way I do it. So just moving it around in the palm of this hand, and then I'm using this finger to tuck it in to make a circle. Okay. I'm going to test my oil. You don't want the oil to be too hot because you don't want the dumplings to get burned before they're cooked. You want them to brown, not burn. Okay, so these are going to rest for a little bit. I'm going to pinch a little bit piece off because this is how I test if my oil is ready. I'm going to just drop a little piece in there. Everybody has their own technique. Yeah, I think it's about ready. There's another technique. You can get a wooden spoon and put it in there, and if it bubbles, it's ready. Okay, so I don't want my pot too hot, so I'm going to turn it down to medium now that it's ready. And okay, flatten them out a little. This pot is called a Dutch pot. In the Caribbean, most homes will have a Dutch pot, and this is well seasoned. This is how we call it, and we use it mostly to fry our dumplings. So I'm going to leave those in there. I'm going to add 4. And we're going to wait. What we're waiting for, we want them to bloom, and I'll show you what I mean bloom. So meanwhile, let's check this out. So I am going to let them fry slowly because I want them to be cooked, and then we'll come back and I'll show you when they're blooming, what it looks like when it's blooming. Thank you. Okay, so we're back. Now we're going to show you how the dumplings have bloomed. See, they've popped up, and the middle is like it's ready to open up. So this is when you turn it around. Turn it on the other side. Let that cook for another 2 to 3 minutes. Low. You do not want your fire to be too high, like I said earlier. So I'm going to tell you a little bit more about this Dutch pot. This is very seasoned because it's old in the Caribbean. I was telling you, many homes, almost every home has a Dutch pot, and it gets that color because it's very well seasoned. Similar to the other pot called, similar to the skillet. The iron skillet. It takes a while to get seasoned, so this is not dirt. This is just, it's well seasoned, it's well cured, and so it fries the things better. So if you haven't seen one before, if you go to a Caribbean store or a Spanish store, you can see that there. It's called a Dutch pot, an iron pot, and it cooks the food very well. So I'll invest in one to fry dumplings. So while that's going, I'm going to add the carrots here. The carrots and the tofu. So I may not add all of that. Let me just add a little bit. And the tofu. Now I added thyme to it, and I'm just going to show you how I take the leaves off. I turn it upside down and pull them off, so I don't have the bark, and then that little part can go there. So I'm gonna add all that in. Like I said earlier, I added some adobo to the tofu. See, the colors are coming together. See that? Very, very pretty. Presentation is key in your food. We should eat a lot of, every day we should be eating greens, but let it look interesting so the kids will eat it, and the family will eat it. Let it look pretty. We should eat lots of greens in our diet every day. So that's gonna stay a little more and steam. Meanwhile, back at the ranch, the dumplings are, there we go. See the color? There we go. Not too high. And I have 3 more I'm going to add to that, and I'm going to plate that in a little while, and I'll show you the finished product when I'm finished. In a couple of minutes, come right back. Thank you. Welcome back to the final product of our fried dumplings with greens today. Okay, so this is the color. This is what it looks like. You could serve this over rice, over bulgur, or any grains. You could eat it just like this. It's colorful. You're eating with your eyes first, and then you add your seasons to taste. And this one, all I added was the adobo. So you can add pepper if you want pepper. You choose what you want it to taste like. So I'm going to add it to my plate. In here, I also have, in this plate, I also have some curry chickpeas, because you will always hear me say I'm adding in nutrients. So I added some curry chickpeas, and we're going to add the greens. This would be a perfect meal on a Sunday morning or a holiday morning when everybody's together. Put a little bit more. There you go. So that is my fried dumpling with greens and some chickpeas. You have color, you have flavor, you have texture, and 3 dumplings. That's a hearty man's meal. So I'm hoping that you will enjoy our presentation today and have fun with it. Choose to add nutrients into everything you cook. Everything you cook, think of what I can add to make this more nutritious, as I did with the dumplings. No, we don't just have flour and water and sugar, and flour, water, and salt. We added some beans to that, some chickpeas, some split pea blended, and we used that water, cold water, to knead the dumpling, to add some protein to that. We also add some curry chickpeas, and the greens have the color and texture. Enjoy, and welcome again to another Cooking with Dorrel, presented by Eden's Hope Ministry. I appreciate your time to stop and watch. Please share, like, and subscribe. And I'll see you again on another show with Cooking with Dorrel. Thank you.